So here, when I see these, it's like you're seeing those Russian dolls that are one inside the other. That g of -2 is inside the h is inside the f. And what f of x, g of x, and h of x are names for different functions, just like your name is Gabriel. So if I have a g of -2, we're going to start from the inside of that Russian doll and go out. So I'm going to find what g of -2 is. Well, g of -2, all that means is you go to the g function and you plug in a -2. So that would be equal to 5 minus -2. Don't forget the minus sign that's here because that's part of the problem, which is equal to the absolute value of 7, which is 7. So now, if I rewrite that function, I have f of h, and g of -2 is 7, so I'm going to put of 7. So now we've got this here, h of 7, right? So now we go to the h function, and we plug in a 7. So now we're going to have 7 squared minus 4 times 7, which is 49 minus 28, which I believe is 21. So now we replace the h of 7 for 21. And now we have f of 21. Well, now you go find the f function, and this order can be in any order, so you have to do it in the order that she tells you to do it. And that would be equal to 3 times 21 plus 8, because you're plugging it into the f function, which would be 63 plus 8, which would be equal to 71. And that is your final answer. So f of h of g of -2 is 71. So if f of x equals -x cubed minus 8, you could also say to yourself, what is f of x the same as? Well, it's the same as y equals -x cubed minus 8. So here's a point, and that is the x of the point. So all they really want is what is y when x is -4. So we're going to put in y equals negative, and this cubed here only goes to the x. So I'm going to put that -4 in parentheses, and that negative stays on the outside. If that -x was in parentheses, then the cube would go to everything, but it doesn't. It only goes to the thing right to its left. So you have to put that -4 in parentheses, and these are really hard. A lot of kids mess up on these. So minus 8. So we have that negative on the outside. -4 cubed is -64 minus 8. Well, minus 64 is positive 64 minus 8, which I believe is 56. So here, they're telling you that f of x equals -3. Well, remember I told you f of x is the same as y. So here they're telling you the y is -3 because f of x is the same as y. So you're going to plug it in for y, not for x. This is a little backwards, so it's just a little different. So you have y equals 2x minus 5 over 7. And there's your y, -3. So -3 equals 2x minus 5 over 7. Well, the first guy you got to get rid of is that 7 downstairs. So you're going to multiply both sides by 7 to get rid of him. So he's gone over there. And you have -21 equals 2x minus 5. And now you're back to regular algebra. You're going to add 5 to both sides. And that gives you -16 equals 2x. So x equals -8. And this one's kind of written funny. It says evaluate f of 1/7 equals -14x plus 3. And I don't like the way they wrote that. I like to write it as f of 1/7 equals what when the function f of x is -14x plus 3. Well, here they want you to plug in this for x. F of 1/7 means what is the value of y when x is 1/7. So that's going to be -14 times 1/7 plus 3. And if you notice, that's -14 over 7, which is -2 plus 3. But, you know, if you can multiply across, that's -14 times 1, over 7, which negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2, which is 1. So the answer to that question is 1. And the last one, number 8 on that page, it says, what is the zero of the function f of x equals 3/11 x? Is that a negative 3/11? I'm having a hard time seeing this page. Negative 3/11 x plus 66. So what we want to do is, if they want to find the zeros, they're really finding the x-intercept, where it hits the x-axis. And we're going to talk about that, I think, on the next page. But the x-intercept is when y is 0. So if y is 0, isn't this the y? So we make him 0. That's what they want to know when they want to find the zeros. You make the y 0. So when you do that, it's just basic algebra again. You subtract 66 from both sides. And we get negative 66 equals negative 3/11 x. So there's two ways to do this. You can get rid of the 11 first and then the 3, or you can multiply by 11 over 3. I like to get rid of the 11 first. So I multiply both sides by 11. And we get negative 726 equals negative 3x. So then we have to divide by negative 3 to find x. So when we divide by negative 3, we get positive 242. So x equals 242.